Hi, everybody. This is Brad Sampson. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Core Potash. Before you make any investment decisions, I'd encourage you to read this disclaimer later on. Thank you. Core's developing globally significant potash deposits in the Republic of the Congo, so middle of the west coast of the African continent. We currently have a memorandum of understanding in place with the Summit Consortium to finance the construction of our main asset, the Kola project. And the Kola definitive feasibility study demonstrated that the Kola project can be an exceptionally low cost producer and supplier of potassium chloride or muriate of potash to our target markets. And we have projects that are located in very close proximity to the very large South American markets and the growing and increasingly important African markets. And our proximity to those markets creates key competitive advantage for us over existing and future planned potash producers. We have inbuilt growth potential because we have over 6 billion tonnes of potash mineral resources already delineated very close to the coastline of the Republic of the Congo. And we plan to produce potassium chloride or muriate of potash, the most important source of potassium for agricultural needs. The potassium market is large. It's close to 70 million tonnes per annum, and it's growing, typically 2 to 3% per annum. And it's growing because the world needs more intensive use of fertilizer in agriculture to feed the world's growing population. We have two key projects in the Congo, Kola and DX. They both sit in separate mining licenses. Kola project is more advanced. We've completed definitive feasibility study and are currently working on an optimization of the capital design of that project. Both projects sit within 35 kilometres of the coast. They're in close proximity to electrical power and gas supply just north of Pointe Noire. Pointe Noire itself, close to the project, is a large town and has a very important port on the West African coastline and an international airport. We're very fortunate that with two mining licenses in place, our environmental permits in place, and a mining convention in place with the government of the Republic of the Congo, that we're effectively development ready, fully permitted and development ready. I'd like to talk a little bit about the Kola project. Kola is a truly world-class project. It's an exceptionally large potash deposit. It's very high grade. It's very shallow. And we believe it's one of the few projects in the world that has that combination of high grade and very shallow depth. And that's important, and I'll touch on that again in the future. It also has a very low level of impurities or insolubles. And again, that's very important as a driver for our cost structures. My apologies. We have a mining convention in place. It was approved by the government of the Congo in 2018, and we have our environmental and social impact assessment approved and environmental permits in place. And as I said, we're currently progressing a capital optimization study to bring the capital cost of that project to approximately $1.65 billion US. And that work is underway. Our projects are ideally located to supply fertilizer and supply MOP into this large South American market. Brazil is some 10 million tonnes of demand out of a global demand of close to 70 million tonnes per annum. And then the increasingly important and growing African markets immediately adjacent to us. Our location right on the coast and immediately adjacent to those markets creates a very important source of strategic advantage for us. We have the shortest transport distances to market and effectively no land transport component to our costs. My apologies, my screen keeps jumping. We completed the definitive feasibility study on the Kola project, and the definitive feasibility study demonstrated the very low operating cost potential of the project. The low costs at the mine gate, low costs delivered to port because of the very short transport distances to our barge loading point, and then a very short shipping distance to our target markets, resulting in very low shipping costs. The importance of this is that the 2.2 million tonne per annum Kohler project designed to have very low operating costs that will give us extremely strong cash margins in every potash price scenario. Earlier this year, we signed a memorandum of understanding with the Summit Consortium. The key technical partners of the Summit Consortium are SEPCO and ENFI, both globally important engineering and construction companies, and ENFI in particular with significant resources focus. And they have designed and built similar potash projects previously. They are undertaking a capital optimization study. And during the definitive feasibility study on Kohler, we and our consultants identified significant opportunities to reduce the capital costs of the project. SEPCO and ENFI, in their initial review of the project, agreed with us. And they're now targeting to achieve a capital cost of less than $1.65 billion and to reduce the construction period of the project. We're very excited with their involvement. That work is underway, and we are expecting to receive the final report from that optimization study in the early part of 2022. Following that, the Summit Consortium will present us a financing proposal, and SEPCO will present us an EPC proposal, so a fixed price construction proposal for the project. Really important that under this financing, the model is that core shareholders will retain ownership of 90% of the Kohler project, and the government of the Congo will retain the 10% that they're entitled to under the mining convention. Now, I'd like to show you some comparative information on the Kohler project and talk a little bit about the cost structure. I mentioned earlier that it's a low-cost project in terms of costs at the mine gate. It's then because of a very short transport distance, we have low transport cost to port, and then we have a short shipping distance to our target markets, again resulting in low overall costs. So the Kohler definitive feasibility study demonstrated that we should be able to land product in Brazil at a cost of just over $102 per tonne. In comparison to the rest of the existing potash industry and forecast producers, that puts us on the far left of the cost curve. So we expect that we will be the lowest cost supplier globally into the Brazilian market, and we will be one of the lowest cost producers at the mine gate. And the importance of our proximity to the target markets means that in every shipping cost scenario, we are competitive. In a situation where shipping costs increase globally and where land transport costs increase globally, we become more competitive because we're closer. And really importantly, the short travel distance to market means the greenhouse emissions associated with transporting our product to market would be amongst the lowest in the world. I mentioned earlier, we believe that the Kohler project is unique in that it's high grade. It has grades, in situ grades, in excess of 35% potassium chloride, extremely low level of insolubles, and importantly, it's a very shallow project. And the Kohler deposit is roughly 270 meters deep. And we believe that it's the only undeveloped potash project in the world that has that combination of a very low cost, very low depth, very shallow depth, and very high grade. The Kohler definitive feasibility study showed a capital cost in excess of $2 billion, and we're obviously now working hard with the Summit Consortium, and particularly with SEPCO and ENFI, to reduce that cost to under $1.65 billion. We drew a lot of confidence in the ability or the opportunity to reduce the cost from the work that was done at the end of the definitive feasibility study. And we've provided all of that information and all that work that's already been done to the SEPCO and ENFI team, and that was well received by them, and they have included that in their list of opportunities. The MOU that we signed with Summit earlier this year provides for completion of the optimization study on the Kohler project throughout this year, and we will receive a report on that optimisation study in the early part of next year. Following that, we're to receive an engineering, procurement and construction proposal from SEPCO, and in conjunction with that, to receive a debt and royalty financing proposal from the Summit Consortium. And we're looking forward very much to receiving the reports and then moving into the receipt of the financing proposal. There's a lot of information in this presentation that is available on our website, and that I would encourage you to work through in more detail later on. And I don't intend on going through it all today. The Kohler Definitive Feasibility Study, it demonstrated very strong cash generation potential of the Kohler project, ability to pay back debt rapidly, and to continue to generate extremely strong cash flows over a long project life. It's designed as a conventional underground potash mine. What differs in our case is, firstly, shafts are very shallow, so 2 shafts, 270 metres deep, mechanised underground mining in 2 targeted potash seams. We already have ore reserves in excess of 150 million tonnes at a grade better than 32% KCl. The DFS design is to have a conveyor system that goes up the vertical shaft, and then an overland conveyor to a processing plant located at the coast, where we load barges on a dedicated jetty right next to our processing plant, and then transship onto ocean-going vessels at our permitted transshipment offshore transshipment point. The process is a very standard potash industry flotation process, and with our high grades and low levels of insolubles, that helps us reduce the upfront capital cost and have lower operating costs on the project. But there is nothing unusual about the process or the flotation process to upgrade our run-of-mine ore into the final product. That photograph is a pretty good example of the terrain in the Kohler area. There aren't communities that need to be displaced. We don't have active farmlands that we're going to be disrupting. We don't have plantations that we're going to be disturbing. It's a very benign environment, mostly sand dunes with sort of the typical grass savanna cover, in some areas some trees. And we're now in a fortunate position where we're fully permitted. We have mining convention in place, we have transshipment license in place, environmental permits are in place, and the last piece of the puzzle for us now is to put the financing in place and be in a position to award an EPC contract and get on with the construction of the project. So, try and wrap up on Kohler. This is arguably the best undeveloped potash project in the world. It has exceptionally low operating costs. The capital cost, even in the definitive feasibility study, meant that the capital intensity, or the dollars per tonne of potash that we'll produce, placed it in the lower half globally for potash projects. Its shallow depth lends itself to reduced capital costs. So this is a lower capital cost for startup than other underground potash projects that you will see. Importantly, we are very shallow, very high grade, and very low level of impurities. We have significant district scale development potential. We already have in excess of 6 billion tonnes of potash mineral resources. And the Sinter-Kohler Basin, in which our projects are situated, previously produced more than 500,000 tonnes of MOP per annum into global markets. So we know that there is strong economic potential to produce a myriad of potash and export it from the Republic of the Congo, and particularly from the Sinter-Kohler Basin that we're in. Our strategically important location, adjacent to the coast and close proximity to our target markets, underpins long-term low costs of production and very high cash margins for our projects, and importantly, reduces greenhouse gas generation in comparison to all other suppliers currently importing or planning to import into our target markets. At the end of June, we had in excess of $14 million in the bank, and we're well funded through the planned optimisation of Kohler and the financing process with the Summit Consortium. We look forward to being able to share the results of the optimization study with you in due course, and to being able to put the financing in place and get on with the construction of the Kohler project as rapidly as possible. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, please feel free to access information on our website on www.corepotash.com, and you'll be able to contact us through the links on that website. Thank you very much.